It's time for my virtual Jericho with John Mayer.
Okay, here we are 1 year on in Mount Place. A year ago this was just a building site. Now it's, as you'll see in the course of the next hour, rather verdant and full of plants. And with me are two of the biggest movers and shakers, Sue Hughes and Wendy Ball. Sue, what was your dream for this place?
Well, it started off as a community idea to get the community together, and basically it was word of mouth. So I chatted to a few people, and they chatted to a few people, and then we suggested Thursday to meet up. So we meet every Thursday from 3 o'clock till 5. If anybody would like to join, that's the way, just to come here to Mount Place. They can join anytime. Everybody's welcome. And we, to begin with, we created a WhatsApp, and we communicated by WhatsApp in between, particularly during lockdown because we couldn't see each other so much. But it's a dream planting, creating an eco-friendly. But I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much because there are 5 of us talking, and they're all going to talk about it. Otherwise, I'm just going to say what they're saying.
Okay. Now, whose idea was the York Stone, and who did that?
That was the council. And the council became involved. I mean, I got in touch with Susanna Pretzel, and they were doing that was planned before we even started the York Stone. So we had nothing to do with that.
Did you have anything to do with design of Mount Place? Did you design where the beds were?
I shared a bit with Susanna. I mean, various bits like the raised beds around. Thought that was a good idea rather than spilling out, particularly because people will walk over them. So particularly the areas where they'll walk over, that sort of thing. But not much. It's mainly a council design, the paving. But the council have been really helpful, I do want to say thank you. And so have you, John.
Now, if you were to start from scratch, would you design it like this?
I don't know. I'm not a designer.
I know, but are there some things you think, oh gosh, that's in the wrong place? Or
I'm actually really happy with it because whenever we have a problem, we sort it out, and we all sort it out together. And it's certainly not only me. Can I pass?
No, of course, Wendy. Wendy, you're another mover and shaker in this as in any other things. What was your dream for here?
Well, mine was very similar to Sue's. This was a very grotty area, and it's become a wonderful community area. And the whole exercise has pulled in so many volunteers, and I've met people I've never seen in Jericho before. It's really brought the Jericho community together. Also, I think our dream was that there should be plants for all. My dream, anyway, was for plants all year round to bring scent, colour, joy into people's lives. And if I tell you that there are over 80 different species of plants.
Over 500 plants, did you once tell me? How many plants, individual plants?
No, well, I'll come to that, but over 80 different species.
Right.
And probably nearer to 800 to 900 individual plants. Because we have many bulbs, which you can't see at the moment, but they're underground. But, there are about at least 300 snowdrops, for instance. There are at least 200 bluebells, which will all come up again next year and expand. And most things have been planted with the idea that they will expand and fill out and be there forever without too much maintenance, really.
Where did all the plants come from?
Well, we were very lucky. The council cooperated. Sue ordered a lot of plants, and a great big trailer arrived, and apparently some were missing, but the council have been generous. So that's helped. But mostly it's been people bringing plants individually from their gardens. So we have plants from probably 100 volunteers, I would think. And everybody's just brought a plant, and we put them in what we hope is the best place. That bed over there only has 2 inches of soil. So you have to be quite selective about what you put in. But we've nevertheless managed to get quite a lot growing there. And as you can see, the other beds, which have got some depth, are now established forever. It's and the colour that is coming in the wildflower meadow, particularly, it's enchanting. And there's been something in flower more or less ever since we started.
So did you sit down with a piece of paper, the two of you, and work out what was going to go where?
To have an overall plan, say, well, actually, this won't fit into our design. No. A plant if you find it's in the wrong place. But most of them are thriving. I mean, look at those ferns. It's fantastic how they've thriven in this.
If you were to go to a garden centre and have to buy all these plants, what do you think it would cost you?
Oh, at least 1,000.
At least, I would have thought.
At least, yes. Especially as there are one or two little trees which are doing very well, and people have just been very generous. Some people have actually bought plants to put in. Some people have given their own plants, and the council again has been good. So.
Both of you, what's your favourite part of this public garden? Sue, what's your favourite bit?
Well, I actually love that bed. That's been very well looked after. Quite a few of the beds need things moving, but now's not the time to move. Really, in autumn is best. So we'll move a few in front, forward, like the hellebores. They're all at the back. They're beautiful to be in the front. That sort of thing. I'm working on the acanthus bed at the moment, trying to create a design. So we're always moving.
Mm. Did you think of getting some professional help in to because you're all amateur gardeners? Did you think of getting Worcester College or anybody else in to help you?
No.
Why was that?
We've had some very strong chaps like Michael who've been
Right.
useful and helpful, but mostly it's not too difficult to plant. Yeah, and we all
have different talents, don't we?
Yes.
And you'll see that when you talk to the others.
Yeah.
There's particular talents everyone has. And when we ordered the plants from the council, Jo Milton helped me with that. She was brilliant. She was looking at all the sort of pollinators, height, and and it's incredible.
Well, that's the other thing we've aimed at is planting for wildlife, bees. It's really a naturalist paradise now. We planted as pollinators.
And Rian is going to come in and talk about that.
Yeah.
No, carry on.
If you were to come back in 5 years' time, what's this like? Come back in 5 years.
It'll be impossible to see any weeds because everything will have expanded so much. We've got a lot of ground cover plants which really will expand at a rate of knots once they get going. Some of them are getting going. And we can always put in more ground cover plants.
And will there be a lot of colour around? Because there is a little bit now, will there be?
We've had colour throughout the year. Next year, for instance, there is a winter flowering clematis, which is white over there. There are the hellebores, which have been absolutely stunning, white and purple.
Climbers at the back.
The climbers at the back, which haven't got going yet, but will. There'll be colour all the year round, and there's much scent. I mean, there's some philadelphus. There are other scented plants. So we hope there'll be lovely wafts of scent for everybody and lots of colour.
What now? You people use this on a Thursday and today on a Wednesday. What other people use Mount Place? Do you think? Who else uses it?
Well, lots of students come by. There have clearly been a few tourists. It's obviously a low year for tourists, but there will be lots more. A good many students.
Locals?
Much. Uses that we hadn't quite anticipated, but they're very good.
It used to be, of course, the den of antisocials, winos and junkies, in my terms. Have they started to return, do you think?
No, hardly at all.
A little bit, surely.
You get occasional ones, but nothing like it was before.
I usually have a chat with them if I see them. There's a couple over there, and they were. I don't call them Saxony. I think they live in Saxony nearby, and they were just enjoying themselves. They're having a beer,
Yeah.
and I just befriended them. I saw them in the street the other day and said hi, because I feel that they're welcome. Well, I don't like putting people in categories actually. Yeah. Everybody's welcome.
But I was here the other day, Sue, and there were people who were heavily drinking and seemingly hiding drugs. Or was I imagining that?
I don't know. I wasn't there, John.
No, but
I think it's far less than it was.
No, you're all right. You're all right. I'll do it. I mean, how do you sort of keep it social?
By so many more locals coming in, by people using it for these different occasions, by things like Michael's Pool, which will keep people here all the time. And because I think people respond to.
The camera made quite a difference, didn't it? The camera up there, the CCTV camera's now gone away. Did that not make? Would you like to see it come back?
I don't particularly mind, because I feel that it's sort of continued similar. We're getting into, it's hotter now, and that's partly why we might see a couple of, as you call them, winos, drinking the kind of fever. Because it's hot, but then there's, like the other day, there were a couple drinking the kind of beer. It's very judgmental to say they're winos, and then there were a few what looked like students over there, and they had a beer and they also had a fizzy drink, and I just felt, if we can get that mix, that's ideal. We mustn't shun.
But Sue, I lit a pig, as you know, every day here, and last week there was an entire rubbish bin dumped on the path up there, which I'd never seen before. So somebody must have done that.
Sure.
But I mean, it does seem to me that it's such a beautiful area. You do need to find some way of protecting it, some way of keeping it as it is. But all right. So, what do you both hope for in the next few months from here? There's going to be a book fair. Should there be a week? Michael's Bulls Court, was that part of your master plan?
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes, definitely. Yes. And I think Caroline's going to say something about the future. But I would say that we are going to get we're going to get a pump, so we're going to be
right from the canal.
Yes, so we're borrowing one.
Yes.
And so that's happening. The bull's happening, and oh yes, we'll probably do a book and plant swap.
Right.
We've got those coming.
But perhaps should there not be a weekly event here of music and other things like that?
Well, I think anybody could do that.
Yeah.
It's not something, because we really have our work cut out, actually. Half the people on this Green in Jericho have allotments as well, actually, and we also, now lockdown is over at the moment, everybody's visiting family and stuff, so we have to be careful. I don't want to sort of promise. Obviously we'll do things.
But I mean, you've got other little projects in Jericho. There's one in Victor Street and there's one in the Jericho Passage that I know of. Yeah. Do you think you're spreading yourself a bit too thinly? Should you concentrate on here?
Oh, I see. You mean rather than beds anywhere else?
Yes.
I haven't thought about that. I must say that hasn't. I love the Victor Street bed. I love the fact that we're planting on the alley, in the alley. And I love the idea of working, Caroline was going to mention this, and we're going to be working in the school. And we all love that, it's not just me. I mean, so there's quite a few of us who want to do that.
And there are enough of us. I mean, there are really, I don't know how many volunteers you think there are, but we keep going and we can manage these extra little pieces, especially as they get established. And, as I say, ground cover will take over and there'll be less actual physical weeding and that sort of thing.
And as we're talking, I realised something, that maybe, that we could do things on other days. For instance, I've been coming in about 3 days, coming out here, about 3 days working on that bed over there. And, if people are keen enough, they might come on other days as well,
Right.
which would spread it out a bit.
So you have different days for different
I haven't
beds.
asked anyone whether they want to do that, but
Right.
it could be something. And also maybe, hopefully other people will join us from the community.
Okay, I think we've got Rhiannon and Caroline.
Lovely.
Thank you both very much indeed. Do you want to send them in? Because I was going to move. I think. Thank you both very much indeed.
So, John.
Hello, Phil.
Yeah, we can't really hear them very clearly. A, because they just don't speak up, but the microphone that's got to pick them up is the one that's dangling around your neck. So I wonder whether you kind
move
of
closer.
Put the microphone sort of in between, so you have to unplug your earpiece, but
yes.
Put the microphone closer to them.
Have a seat.
Do you want me and Caroline, or just
me?
Yes,
please. Right. Hopefully. Oops. Right. Hopefully that's a bit better in terms of being able to hear. Right, ladies, speak up first off, and look at me if you can. Ignore him. And then once I get this in, tell us who you are.
my name's Rhian. I live very nearby, and I'm in the Greening Jericho group.
Caroline?
I'm a blow-in. I'm here out of sheer envy from the neighbouring district, where we haven't got the luxury of a space like this, but I'm working hard to, find a way.
Are there many blow-ins?
I'm not sure.
Jo, she's from outside Oxford, but I think it's mainly fairly local.
Fairly local. I mean, I'm a Jericho neighbour, just living in
and you're all women.
Manor.
I think we have some token males.
Yeah, here's one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we might have 2 or 3.
What is it? Why do you want to come here? What do you get from it?
Well, personally, I think whatever people can do to provide homes and habitats for wildlife is one of the most important things anyone could be doing at the moment.
Does that wildlife include foxes and snakes and so on?
Yeah, why not? They're wild creatures.
So you'd be happy to come down here and find a fox here?
Yeah, I've seen foxes in Jericho.
In Mount Place?
Yeah, why not?
Right. Caroline, what do you get from it?
Well, something entirely different, actually. I mean, apart from the pleasure of being here because it's beautiful, but I see something else growing here which absolutely fascinates me, and that's democracy.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really, really interested in that because I think it's very unusual, very necessary to going along with what Rhian's been talking about, which is, valuing the natural environment. But I think it's maybe the first time I've really understood what that word meant. Democracy, bottom up.
If I'm correct, are you not a leading Liberal Democrat?
No, that's my husband.
That's your husband's leading.
I'm not a Lib Dem.
Your husband's a former councillor.
I'm not. Yeah, that's right. But I'm.
It doesn't matter where your politics is, but tell us how you understand democracy working here.
Because it's completely non-party political. And what I notice here is the involvement. I mean, I'd love to be sitting next to the rubbish bins, which have been emptied very skillfully while we've been talking. Yes. I've been watching them. And the seats, and the relationship with the local councillors, they've been unbelievably helpful. The lighting, there's so much here that's sensitively done. And it is, you never hear a word about party politics, ever, here. It's not top-down, it's what I call bottom-up. And I think that bottom-up democracy is something that COVID has taught us. And you can look around and find examples everywhere now of bottom-up. It's about companionship, tolerance, kindness.
Sorry to be mildly cynical, but it wouldn't be me.
No,
it's all a bit bourgeois, though, isn't it?
No. I don't think so. I could go and sit in Blackbird Leys and start having a chat like this, and it would be fine.
Would you have the same group? How many people come and join you from Werewolf Place?
I'm sure that it could be extended and that there would be ways of doing that, but I think it's not beyond people to do that. But first you have to have sort of understood how it is developing here and how it is possible to experience and feel something that maybe one's never felt before. And then you maybe can think about spreading it. I don't think you can begin to really talk about democracy until you've started to learn what it feels like.
Yeah, and do you feel fully part of the group?
Do I feel fully part of the group?
You don't come every week, do you?
No, well I work as a gardener, funnily enough,
right.
Most of the week, so unfortunately I can't come on Thursdays, which is the regular day, but I try and come and do what I can.
So look at this from a professional eye. How do you see it? How has it developed? How could it develop better?
I think it could be improved with a little more structure, maybe from a few larger shrubs. But I think areas of it are developing really nicely. There's some really beautiful little corners here. I'm pleased with it. I think it's an absolute transformation from what it was. If you imagine, I think this bed was mainly just full of snowberry. Mm-hmm. So, dominated by one type of plant, which, from my point of view, doesn't look nice and it doesn't provide anything for creatures. So now we've got a huge diversity of different plants here, and that then attracts a huge diversity of different insects. And then that's...
Like the bee hotel behind us?
Yes.
You planning other things like that?
Well, we've already got some wood piles, which are really important for things like beetles and wood lice and lots of little creepy crawlies. We've got a wildflower meadow with it's got about 22 different species of plants in it. And yeah, we would like to create more kind of micro habitats, so maybe some more insect hotels. We might put up.
Do you think you should explain to people what everything is? I mean, things like the wild meadow, things like that. Do you think there should be maybe signs up telling people?
Well, we've got a plan for a sign in the pipeline, so a bit along the lines of something you'd see in a nature reserve.
Yes.
So it will tell you a bit about the plants and the animals that have been spotted here.
Where will that go?
We're not sure yet.
And what sort of things will it tell us?
Well, for instance, we've spotted the hairy-footed flower bee here.
Right, okay.
Which is a beautiful
Is that unusual?
creature. Well, it's unusual in that all of our bees are declining in numbers, so it's supporting. That's one of the solitary bees, rather than we're quite familiar with honeybees and bumblebees, which live in colonies, but we actually have more species of solitary bee.
And the bird boxes, are they attracting people?
And they were only put up this year, so they were possibly put up a bit late for this year. But hopefully we'll get some interest next year.
But this year, none have adopted it.
Not that I've seen, no, unfortunately.
And what about the animals from the canal? Have any of them come in? the swans and ducks?
I thought you were going to say turtles, alligators.
Are there any of them? No, I don't think so.
Not yet.
Swans and ducks and geese.
Not so far. I guess there's not really easy access for water birds here on the canal, on this side of the canal. But we are lucky enough to be very near, for instance, the Trap Grounds Nature Reserve. and obviously lots of quite wild areas. So it's a perfect position to attract some of that wildlife over and provide it some food and habitat. So
how do you see this develop in the next 5 years, both of you? Caroline?
Well, from my point of view, I'm hoping that the idea will catch on and it'll be much easier for people like me living in neighbouring areas to be able to find spaces and to make more space for wildlife just wherever we are. Because it's been really badly needed in our area. We just don't have somewhere to sit like this and have this kind of
You've got Aristotle Lane. Or is that not?
Well, it's not in the ward, actually. It's not in the same area. Yeah, of course we have all of that access and we can come here, but I'd like to be able to do it in my street with my neighbours.
Have you started that plan at all?
Yeah, I have. I'm in conversation with somebody at the local, whatever.
That's a point I'd like to make about this space. Is I just think it's a perfect opportunity to show the public what they can do to help creatures and wildlife, because it's such a thoroughfare. There's so many people pass through here every day, and that's been a nice part of the whole experience. Is when you're working here, so many people stop and chat to you, and they want to know more, and people are just so thrilled to see the improvement that's happened.
Which is why I was saying, maybe you are going to put up a sign to explain what everything is and what's been done.
Yes, that's
and maybe with some before and after photos as well.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Now you're a Jericho resident, so you know this hasn't been the best part of town in the past.
Yes, it was. Not really a nice space. It had a bit of a dark atmosphere, I think.
There were I've just been told by Sue, there were a lot of winos and junkies in here.
Well, to be honest, yes.
Yes.
And I think maybe there has been like one or two people that have maybe thought that we're sort of excluding people or something. But I just think since this has been done, I've seen so many people sitting here enjoying it, families, all different kinds of people that didn't come here at all before.
How would you stop the return of the antisocial elements?
Keep on doing
yes, Caroline.
I think it's to perhaps to change your mind about whether they're antisocial or not, because everybody is antisocial so much of the time. And actually, I think I've found myself, I've happened to have a chat with somebody here who could have been described in that way, who was completely charming, and whether charming or not is irrelevant, but the fact was he was able to share the space on equal terms and for us to sit down and have a chat.
But people
so
were
I'm really
afraid,
not interested.
People were afraid to come through here.
Well, they may be afraid.
They were afraid.
I'm sure that can be a feeling people have, but actually I don't think there are many people in this world really that you can't sit down and have a chat with. We need more practice,
when the community policewoman told me she came into the square and there were 13 people dealing in drugs here. 13 against her. That's in the old days.
Yeah.
So it was not a very pleasant place.
No, it's no good. I'm not pretending for 1 second that one can be naive about this.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's opportunities, and you could want to grow in tolerance and understanding, and find help for people. I mean, mostly people don't want to shout and yell and scream.
As the people are behind us.
Yeah, well, perhaps, but I have no idea. I haven't seen them, so I'm not going to make a judgment about that. But I just think that, we meet all sorts more and more, and that's a good thing.
How do you preserve the idyll, is what I'm sort of asking. This is a little oasis. How do you keep it going?
Well, stop thinking of it as a little oasis and have lots of them.
Yes, but I mean, this particular oasis, how do you keep it going?
I think it's doing very well. It gives me the impression of being a really going concern. And I particularly, there's so many lovely things about it that are appealing to very many people, and it also including a lot of people that are often just the silently unincluded. And that's a big plus. Anyway.
Do you have nightmares at all about somebody coming and causing damage here?
I'm sure I would. And I could imagine that
Do you have nightmares
could
about
have
it?
a disaster.
I can't say I have nightmares about it, but it does actually concern me because I think,
You could come and find it trashed or something.
Well, I mean, there's been graffiti, as you know, yeah.
There's been graffiti. People still kind of let their kids and dogs roam in the flower beds.
And pee against the wall sometimes.
Yeah.
How do you how do you discourage that, shall we say?
Have a public toilet somewhere. Be nice.
Yeah, that's easily said.
Well, but I mean, this is what democracy is about: asking for what you want and having the confidence to do that, and to include everybody and everybody's needs and everything else. We live in a world which doesn't do that.
The two gentlemen who just walked past us and screaming at us, using the W word. How do you include them? Do you have any ideas?
Wait until the moment arrives. I don't think you can just sort of plan that. No, I think you find way. If you're bothered about it, you usually find a way. You'll find somebody who can help you solve that kind of problem.
All right.
I think when people have become involved, who are sort of from outside of this little group, it's been quite spontaneous. So people that just live nearby, we've needed help with something like digging a big stump out of the ground. We said, "Oh, Steve, can you come and help us?" And I think that's a nice kind of element of it. And then they become aware of what we're doing. And okay, they might not join our group, but it's all these little encounters that make up a community.
And knowing about the resources available. We for the first time, I think most people's experience in the street where I live, just not far away, there was a rough sleeper appeared. But the community wasn't phased. They knew where to find resources and to find help. And we're all much more resourceful than sometimes we imagine we are.
Michael, I think we might go and have a little wander and talk to some of the gardeners. Thank you both of you. Thanks. Take my empty bones, aged bones. Hope. We'll just talk to people. Hello. Can I ask what you're doing?
I'm doing weeding.
Are you?
Yes.
Right.
There's a lot of nettles and chickweed that needs to be dug out, and a lot of grass which we turn over to refertilise the soil like that. It will rot down.
Is this your bed? Is it?
No, I do wherever. I suppose I've been doing gardening all my life, so I have a fairly good knowledge of what's a weed and what isn't a weed. Although, with this wildlife friendly thing, like these, in my own garden, I would class those as weeds.
Right.
But they're pretty and they're not doing anybody any harm, so we're leaving them because they're insect friendly.
But you're a bit exposed in this bed. People tend to cut off the corners, don't they?
They do, but I've planted some of this plant, which is called saxifrage, round the edge, which in my garden it's made quite a big, substantial mound. So it should make a green border, which I hope will deter some of the corner cutting.
Have you thought of putting those corner things on all four?
Yeah, but it sort of spoils the line. That was the worst corner.
Yes.
It would be good to. I've noticed that the footsteps across that corner, since the plants have grown up,
Yes.
has definitely gone down. The plants are winning. So up in that corner, the vegetation is deterring the people or animals that were cutting off the corners.
So you're obviously quite pleased with what you're here.
Well, yeah, it's coming along fantastically. I mean, look how many flowers we've got. There was hardly anything next year. Last year.
You want to speak to us, do you?
Yeah.
Come on then. What are you doing here today?
Well, I was so delighted to be added to this group when I came to Oxford. I moved here from France, and I didn't know anybody. And then I met Uma, and we shared an allotment, and she introduced me to this group. And then I joined a choir because of this group, and I joined a French lunch group as well. So I feel I've made so many friends in a short time.
Have you been a gardener in the past?
I've gardened in Canada and in Texas and in France. And so I'm learning from all my colleagues here about gardening in England.
So you're a transnational gardener?
Yes.
What's your role here?
I weed, I plant, I do whatever I'm asked to do. I was here early one day and two old ladies came by and they said, "You're doing a wonderful job. 2 years ago, we didn't dare set foot in this square."
Why was that?
Because it was full of...
What I call winos and junkies.
It was full of needles, they said.
Yes.
Needles and broken bottles. And they felt scared. And another day I was at that bed along there, and a lady came out of her house with a plastic bag with 25 tulip bulbs.
Yes.
And she said, "Could you please plant them for me so I can see them from my bedroom window because my knees won't bend."
And you did?
I did, and the tulips came out and she was happy.
And they're here now, are they?
They were.
Oh,
They're probably over by now.
they've gone.
Yes.
Oh well, so this has transformed your life.
Absolutely, very quickly, and I'm very happy here.
Oh, good. Thank you. Let's move on, if you can. Michael. Let's move on to that far bed there, if we can. Are you still all right? Right. Hello, ladies. This is like Annika Rice. Hello. We're coming to talk to you. What are you doing? What? What are you up to?
What we're doing here?
Speak up nice and loudly, by the way, because I'm picking up.
We are watering newly planted hebes, which are types of shrubs here. There's about 5 of them, so we're just giving them a splash of water.
Right.
And we're doing a bit of weeding in this bed as well.
Is this your bed?
It's not mine, no. It's a community bed.
But do you tend to look after
I
it?
don't tend to focus on any particular bed, no. I just go around and whatever needs doing.
What has this little garden brought to you? What do you get from it?
Ooh. If you have 2 hours, I can explain.
No, we have 30 seconds.
Oh, too many things. Just a chance to get out and meet people and improve the neighborhood, join the community, make friends, have a lovely cup of tea at the end, and talk about all things Jericho.
Right.
And that's just a very, very small percentage. The benefits are amazing in all sorts of ways.
Are you surprised at how well this has developed?
Am I
surprised at how well Hollow Mount Place has developed?
Well, in a way, yeah. When spring comes and everything starts growing, there is always a bit of mystery. But also knowing how much we invested in for over how long period of time, it's not a huge surprise.
Tell us about some of the plants in this bed, if you can.
I'm not an expert on plants, I'm afraid. I've been learning a lot, and I've learned a lot during COVID. So all my knowledge has come in the last couple of years. But I could tell you that this is a hellebore, this is a geranium, this is aquilegia. I mentioned hebe already. Some strawberries.
We had lots of snowdrops.
Snowdrops here, apparently. We can't see them now. I know what this is. This is a vinca minor, a beautiful ground cover. stays green, very easy to maintain, doesn't need any watering, ivy.
Now you people populate, you come here every Thursday. What else would you like to see happening in Mount Place? Should there be music every week? Should there be Tai Chi? Should there be...
I would like to see this place used a lot more by community ventures, initiatives like what you're doing, John.
Like the book fair, which you happen to be...
Book fair, seed swaps, music, I don't know, anything. I'd like people from all sorts of community, people from the community to join us, really, and to have their own ideas and initiatives. So not for it to be just for us to organise things, but for as many people as want to participate and organise events here.
But it used to be a fairly antisocial area in the past.
Yeah.
How about the bull pitch?
There were people here you wouldn't necessarily want to invite to dinner.
I would like to invite everyone for dinner. Whoever lives in Jericho, this is their space.
We'll be around tonight.
I don't want to categorise people into different categories. This is space for everyone.
We'll be around tonight then for dinner. Let's move on if you can, Michael.
Invite Michael and the bull.
Okay, we're going to talk to Michael in a minute. Let's move along here and see some of the plants here.
Have you seen our bench, which says that our chat bench?
We have, yes.
Oh, good.
All right, move, and we're going to go along to the Bull Court, Michael.
It's like super powered red.
And what I suggest we do is you sit there, Michael, and film yourself. And I'll sit here.
Film.
No, you're all right. He's look. There we are. Just turn it around.
Okay.
Here we go.
I can't frame it from here, so.
No, it's all right. I can see it. Tell us about this thing behind you, the Bull Court.
Yes, the Bull Court is an idea that I had because it actually is a community building device because it involves people of all ages, male, female, young, old, and it's a great leveler. Since I've been constructing it and working with the gardeners, I've got to know people from Whitworth Place, other people around Jericho, and I was gratified that I can truly say that I had no personal criticisms of the pitch, and there was just enthusiasm for it, and I think it enhances and it sort of helps fulfill the goals which I think you've been expressing, that you want to have a place that is welcoming and an enjoyable space to be. And I think one of the ways to do that is to have people from the local community enjoying it here. And I think that is the best way to progress Mount Place as a wonderful place to be with friends, family, children.
So what's your dream? What do you see that Bulls Court in later this summer or even next year? What's it going to look like?
Well, the actual playing surface will mature. It has to be compacted a bit more. I'd like to see. I'd love to come here on a Sunday afternoon and join you playing bull. We did that a year ago. You were quite a fan of the idea, and you guided me to understand how the gardeners were not so happy about it in the bed. And so
I was going to ask you: is the Bull Court in the right place? Should it actually be against the wall? Would you prefer it against the wall?
I love that big bed, and I think that this, in fact, I cannot think of a more perfect place to locate a Bull Court. It's a diminutive one in size, but it's by the canal. It's under these beautiful birch trees. It's a fabulous place to play, and so I think, and I understand that it should complement other activities, but I think it's probably in this place that leaves the largest number of open places, and including flower beds. So I'm happy with the location.
What about the aesthetic? It does tend to interrupt the view to the canal.
I disagree because it's at a low level, so it's not a barrier. I think you I don't feel that, and I feel that I like the angle of it with the other beds, and I think because it's made of oak, I think it fits in.
What's it cost?
Well, the budget was £1,400,
Right.
which of course excludes any labour costs. Those were
do.
all volunteer.
Yes.
And this, the timbers are oak, English oak and European oak, which will probably last, 20, 30, 40 years. So I think it's basically low maintenance. So I think and there will be plants along the low wall behind me. No, I just love to see children. When we were building it, some children came along and they were playing. So I just think it'll be just a lot of fun.
Move your camera a little bit away from me if you can.
Oh.
Yeah, there we are. That's better. Yes. So £1,400. Where did that money come from?
That was it came partially from a fund that Susanna Pressel was able to access, and also from the bookbinders. Josh is sponsoring it. So those really are the sources, and of course it was the whole idea was came out of the Jericho Community Association as an activity for the community.
But you see, but restricted. Look, see, they can't get across. They're having problems getting their boat across.
I'm sure the next time they would have a bit more skill. That is an exceptionally wide boat, but unfortunately it's a light one.
Right.
Yeah.
So £1,400 well spent.
I think so. I mean, I think if this absolutely, but I think
move it away from you a bit.
I think the proof really will be, over the next year or two. I mean, if it's used regularly, I think it's a bargain. Of course, if no one uses it, then all my goals and my expectations will have been proven wrong. But I am cautiously optimistic just on the basis of the
So will there be a Bulls League here every Sunday?
I think there could be if there's
Bulls League?
Possibly, yes.
Right.
Yes, possibly.
Is that planned?
Well, I think again you have to sort of grow these things. I think that if there are enough people and they want to do it, then that is a natural outgrowth. Yes, yes.
How will you decide if it's failed?
What would I do?
How would you know if it's failed?
If it wasn't used.
And it's all this expensive York stone. Would you just take it up and put it under storage?
It was constructed with the idea that in the event that it turned out to be a white elephant, that it can be unbolted, the gravel can be taken up, and there is some recyclable base there. So it is, and it can be moved to another location. So it would not be wasted. You would simply find another location. So that is entirely possible, but I find that hard to imagine. But we'll see.
And what are you going to do about people possibly vandalising it?
Well, I
hate to use that word again. Junkies and winos.
Yes. I think the more that local people use it, people in neighbouring houses, the more that they'll police it. The more they play pool and enjoy it, then there's a sort of natural ownership that they'll take of it. And I think that's what's happening now. People are taking ownership and responsibility for this place, and maybe people who are somewhat antisocial may become more social if you play a game of pool with them. Do
you see any signs of that?
Well, I haven't yet, had enough. We're still being constructing it. We'll see. But I've met people and had conversations with people that if I wasn't doing this, I probably wouldn't have had done. And I've enjoyed those conversations, and I've really enjoyed working with the Greening Jericho group.
But it's too many went past us earlier on, and then use the W word.
Yes, yes.
Do you see them playing pool?
I don't know, because people behave in different ways in different circumstances. Maybe if they were sitting here and I was doing something here, we might strike up a chat, and I might have my bulls, and maybe they would play. And who knows what motivated them to say that? But I'm optimistic about human nature, and I think bull is one of those things, because of its it's so easy to play, that it doesn't exclude.
Before, just turn around. Let's see those young people there who've just put that boat into the canal. None of them with any lifebelts on, you notice.
Mm-hmm.
Who are going off for a sunny ride on a sunny afternoon.
Yes.
Is that the sort of thing you want to see happening in Mount Place?
People using Mount Place as a place to access the canal.
Using the canal.
Well, it is an access point for the canal. I mean, I've put in my canoe in from here.
So, in addition to your bull, what else would you like to see happening here on a regular basis?
Well, I have the daughter of some friends of mine. Actually, she's a friend of mine. Cecily Stinton. Cecilia Stinton is planning an opera, and I think she's been talking.
An opera?
An opera, indeed, right. An opera. I love the idea of music, the book fair, plant sales, yeah. Right,
so when will we see this opera?
I don't know, actually. I have to talk to Charlotte. I know that I was talking to her parents, so I think it's in the works, but I don't know any more dates.
Phil, come and have a seat.
I'm not going to be on camera, am I?
Ah, you are. Come on. No, are you camera shy? I was going to ask, because he's a local worker. All right, so we sort of come to a natural end as they go off into the sunset. Not being able to row, you noticed. I think probably next week, by the way, on My Jericho, the local police sergeant, Kaylee Jackson, will be making her first TV appearance, talking about what she wants to see here. The week after that, if we have a slide for that, it's going to be about the Oxford Food Bank and the parish larder. What do they provide? Robin Aitken and hopefully the vicar talking about that. And the week after that, if we have a slide for that, don't think we do, but every Wednesday at 5:30 and available on YouTube, you can see My Jericho. It's there for you, for me, for lots of other people. We'll be continuing right the way till July. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Yeah!